So welcome everyone to another one-shot Hotshots D&D. We got a special session for you tonight in that the adventure I had planned on Monday to play today, today's Wednesday, is super complicated and I'm exhausted. Basically, it's been a crazy week, kind of bummed out about all the world events. So I just talked to the crew, and partly because they don't have their barbarian tonight, and this was going to be a pretty epic fight, and partly just because, it doesn't seem like the right thing to do for me right now. We're going to play a fully random set of adventures tonight. We're going to go with some overland travel. We might come to a town, but it's all going to be role-based. Roll as in dice, and it's all going to be based on the Spontaneous Dungeon Master's Companion fundamentally, which is this table of various random tables basically that you can use to create an adventure like this. I have no idea how it's going to go. The players know absolutely as much as I do at this point, but we're going to dive into it after we introduce the characters and see what happens. Come along for the ride.
I say, is there anyone here? Yeah, I feel well done.
So let us hit the dance floor. Positions? Oh, by the way, we are being followed. You guys are doing wonderful.
Nobody bites my drinking buddy. I love killing creatures, but making them run in fear feels pretty good too.
Okay, we're back. Shall we play some D&D?
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
Let's do this. Okay. So you find yourselves in the Desserin Hills where we last left off with Sir Calith, the Dwarven knight, who has been charged to bring this magical treaty between Waterdeep and Mirabar up to Mirabar. You have finally exorcised him of the ghosts of the past, and he is resolved to now take this important artifact up north. And you guys decide to come along for the ride. You're keen to support him as escorts, and it sounds like an adventure. So you are making your way up the long road, the famous long road. Start first, though. You need to get out of the hills and head up toward Tribor, the crossroads. And we'll get you onto the long road to Tribor. So let's start with the weather. Another great tool I like to use is the Waterdeep City Encounters weather tables. In fact, I love everything about this book. So, Randy, give me a D20.
Yes.
We're looking at sort of springtime here, so it's unlikely to be too inclement.
Got a 9.
9. Yeah, 9. So there's some light rain going on. Just a little bit of a steady precipitation. So open flames may flicker a little bit, and wisdom perception checks based on sight are at disadvantage. It's raining in the hills. There's the lovely smell of the grass as it is taking in the moisture. And Mario, good. Give me a D20.
I think you missed the most detrimental aspect of light rain. It's going to mess up Gideon's hair a little
Absolutely, yeah. I'm already on
hat,
it.
by the way?
No, he's got a robe, and he certainly has it over the hood up.
Yeah, it's a hood up kind of day.
It's
everybody in their hoodies.
those kind of days.
Mr.
7.
Has his visor down on his full helmet. All right. Great. So you pass the day on your way to Tribor. It's going to take the better part of the day And what's one thing that Gideon does or notices during the day as you're making your way through these lovely rolling green hills?
Well, yeah, Gideon has his hood up. Certainly, just he's not really keen about being out in the rain. But I mean, he is a very observant guy. So I think next to the sound of rain, there's another sound that catches his attention. It's not the sound of an animal. It's but something from the trees or something catches his attention. Perhaps it's music. It's some kind of civilized sound, not from an animal.
Maybe there's like a cadence to the sound. Yeah, it has a rhythm or.
Sound of music kind of wafts over the valley as you dip down into a dale. Because I love that. Marshall, give me a D20.
Ooh, 20.
20. Right. And as you come down into the valley, this music kind of fills your hearts and your spirits, and your step becomes lighter. Literally, you find that on the far side of this valley, the hill, as you approach it, is a zone of decreased gravity, and you are able to move not only very swiftly, but you almost sort of bounce off the ground as you are sort of bobbing along up this hill.
What is going on here? Is the rain acting weird in this bubble?
It is, in fact, yeah. It's descending very, very slowly on this hill, and when it hits, it doesn't splash at all.
We were not on horses, were we?
I don't think so.
Not in this one.
No. Well, Marshall's gonna just kind of like look around and see his hands kind of moving around, the rain acting all weird off his hands. This is astounding. What is going on here? Gideon, is this your doing?
I didn't do anything, but it is very curious indeed. Perhaps there's magic in this place. Perhaps the veil is then here. There's magic in the air, certainly.
I've heard of ley lines causing weird things in areas. Maybe there's some. Maybe you're right. Maybe there is some magic nearby. I don't know. Maybe it's worth checking out.
Well, we do have this very important treaty that we're supposed to be escorting, but I cannot see no harm in that as long as it's on the way.
What say you, Master Dwarf? You have a few moments to investigate this. This information might be helpful to someone down the line.
Aye, well, as long as we're into Yartar by evening, I'm okay with it.
Does only Gideon hear the music, or does the rest of us hear music?
Gideon?
Cheers.
I think you all hear it, don't you, as you approach the zone of low gravity. It's coming from the north, which more or less happens to be where you're headed. You're headed sort of north and west to get onto the long road. This is sort of due north up the valley, somewhere up in those rolling green hills that are misted in light rain.
Perhaps we should head towards the music, staying within this area to maybe kind of get an idea of how large it is.
Yes, let us proceed. And can Gideon listen to the music? More specifically, what kind of music would it be?
Yeah, definitely. So,
do we have a table for that? What kind of instruments?
we got a table for everything, and if you don't, we got the table in the sky. Table between my ears. Yes, go ahead and give me. I'm just trying to think what kind of check that would be. Probably, in this case, I think it would be definitely an intelligence thing. Tell you what. Intelligence, and you can add your proficiency bonus for performance.
That's
Yeah,
so
makes
nice
sense.
of you.
Makes sense that
Yeah.
you would
So
hear a
it's an
lot
intelligence
of music.
performance check, perhaps the weirdest check ever invented in all of D&D.
Well, I got no modifier on my intelligence, but I have a lot on performance. So that is going to be a 27.
27, not a problem. Okay. So this music, go ahead and give me a D20 there, Marshall.
I think maybe intelligence performance if you're on the debate team. 12.
12. Okay.
Marshall can't
Sorry,
help
I
but,
apologize. Give me a D100, in fact.
Oh,
Give me a D100 for D&D races.
Yikes. Marshall's going to kind of stop himself when he catches himself kind of skipping a little bit through this.
Yes,
a
it's
little
definitely a
foolish.
light and
Catchy.
lilting tune.
70. Straight up.
70. Yes, the music is gnomish in origin. This is the music of a gnome as it goes lilting down the valley. It has the intricacy of gnomish music, a very kind of intelligent baroque kind of tune. Okay, and you set off to investigate. You can give me perception checks, wisdom perception checks at disadvantage to see what you see and when, the two of you. By the way, what's your marching order?
I'll go ahead without Erky. I don't mind standing in the front.
All right.
Marshall kind of feels he wants to. I mean, the guy's wearing full plate, but he knows that he's important to get to where we're going. So kind of like a little VIPing him a little bit, I guess.
All right. So, So Sir Caleth in the middle and Gideon,
Yeah.
I'm assuming, is going to lead from the rear.
I was actually going to say perhaps we'll switch it up this time and just say he's in the middle so that he can. We just walk on the road so he can have a conversation with both if he wants to. He's just chatting as we go.
Sir Caleth will guard the rear in case anyone's coming up behind you.
Disadvantage roll is 16 plus 1. 17.
17.
Better than me. I got a 9.
17 and a 9. Okay. So Marshall, you're out front, and you're the first to notice through the rain. Give me a D20.
And Gideon, his hood basically falls in front of his face. The rain is getting in his face. So.
That's right.
His bangs are starting to cover.
That's right. You need guttering on the hood there to kind of drain it away, and unfortunately, just getting all down your face.
Marshall got a 9.
9. Mascara is starting to run, I think, as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Your guy liner.
All right. And as you approach, you notice sort of multicolored lights, blue and greens and purples, sort of dancing off the rain in the far distance, on top of a hill, a couple hundred feet out. These sort of lights beginning to glow in the air. And as you approach and as you get closer,
how peculiar.
It's quite beautiful.
It is quite beautiful. Give me a D20 there, Randy.
4.
4. Okay. And as you make your way to the base of the hill, at the top of the hill, you see a stone, looks like a sepulcher or a sarcophagus, a great stone kind of structure. And standing atop it, dancing and playing a simple wooden pipe, is a gnome who seems to be issuing forth not only this music, but seems to be illuminating the sky with this light.
Oh, that's something you don't see every day.
And coming from us, that says a lot.
True.
The gnome is bald, completely, and the rain is just flowing freely.
About how far away are we from?
You're at the base of
him?
the hill. The hill goes up another about 60 feet, and then crests, and where it crests is this kind of tomb upon which the gnome is dancing. Are you trying
to see, do we want to go up there?
Hide your presence from the creature, or?
I don't think so. I mean, it's a gnome with the flute. I wouldn't perceive that too much of a threat, even if it is doing some magic. You know, I respect the Citizenry's autonomy when it comes to their magic use.
Well, he's out here playing his music. I don't think he would mind an audience.
No.
But I do not wish to disturb him either. Let's just approach cautiously.
Yeah, cautiously, and as non-threatening as we can. Yeah.
Great. Yes, and as you gradually set foot at the base of the hill, you notice this too is an anti-gravity or low gravity region. The rain is moving more gently here. Seems to be very gently, almost washing off the bald head of the gnome. And your footsteps, you're almost sort of bounding up the hill at this point. And the higher you get up the hill, the more light you feel and become, until it's almost kind of an effort now to stay on the ground, as though you might, in fact, float away. And Mario, give me a D20.
13.
Okay. And as you make your way up the hill, the gnome sort of concludes the tune. He sort of brings it around to an ending and takes the pipe out of its mouth and sort of wets his mouth a little bit and looks down at you, and he says, Well, on your way up the hill, huh? On the way on foot, huh? Well, as I always say, once a peasant, always a peasant. Calm approach.
All right, Marshall's delighted at this, and Marshall start clapping. That was quite a song, sir. Quite a song. Bravo. Lovely.
Thanks. It gets them every time. What brings you to these hills?
We are merely traveling through, and we are on our way to see our charge here delivered to a town called Mirabar. However, along the path we heard some entrancing music, and lo and behold, here you are giving a concert for the rain.
Just paying my respects, really.
I see that. Well, excuse my manners. My name is Marshall Vigor. This is our good friend Sir Caleth, and this is the very wet Gideon Kingsley.
You may know me as Gideon the Gilded.
Yes.
I might, but I don't. I'm Nissa Finhope. Nissa Finhope the Flautist.
Could you say that again?
Nissa. N-I-S-S-A. Do you speak common?
Mm-hmm.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Nissa.
Likewise, I'm sure. Well, I see you have a lute there.
Mm-hmm. You are very sharp eye, Nessa. Indeed, I am Gideon the Gilded, a traveling troubadour and a musician like yourself. And I couldn't help but notice that you have this distinct sound, typical of the gnomes. Where did you learn your music?
Yes, it's been in my family for generations. My great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was in fact a musician himself. And so we come and pay our respects in his long-forgotten tomb.
Well, isn't that just lovely?
It's an interesting place to have a tomb all by itself here on this hill. Is there some significance of this area?
It was once a vast city, a bustling city full of gnomes, All that remains is this one tomb.
That's amazing. And did your grandfather live in this city?
Oh yes, oh yes. The Fenhoops have lived here as long as anyone can remember.
So Marshall looks around, and what's it look like? Does it look like any ruins or anything?
No
like that?
signs of ruins whatsoever. It's just rolling, lush green hills slicked by the grass. There's not a single man-made object anywhere in sight.
A city, you say? That's amazing. The nature
Yes.
must be ravaging here to take it over as such. I don't see any signs of a city at all.
It was subsumed in the spell plague. Oh, but this tomb protected against being swallowed up by the rift in the weave. And so I come pay my respects and recharge the magic herein.
There must be some very powerful magic. And this lament of yours is something that powers this music, this magic?
Sorry, the what?
Laments. What do... is that not correct?
I don't know. Are you speaking common?
This Memento Mori song for your great-grandfather.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, it lightens things, shall we say. And being light is good here, because it stops you from being swallowed up by the magical ground. Were I not playing my flute regularly, you, I, this tomb, everything would be swallowed into the ground. How do you like that?
We are most thankful for your efforts then. So I must assume that you must be a fellow bard, weaving magic into your music.
Oh yes, you could say that. I was once quite known in my time. Nissa, the Silver Fenhoop.
Mm-hmm. I can't say that I have, but I'm sure. In certain circles.
Yes, some of the best circles.
Yeah.
Where do you play? He sort of leans in and gives you a look.
I mean, there's something going on right here. Yeah. Gideon is, of course, very interested in this music. He's not really known gnome's music and stuff like that. Is still very new to him. But he's also... I mean, there's no crowd here, so there's not much pressure. But he's measuring this BARD up, certainly. And he doesn't want to be outperformed.
Great.
So, shall we have a little duet, or perhaps exchange some solos?
Oh, what a wonderful idea! I think it would be a great show, great sign to watch your ancestor.
Well, can we make it quick, please? So Caelus does not seem terribly keen
All right.
on this BARD off. That's about
I was going to say BARD off. Also, Caelus, I understand the haste, but perhaps these songs will help put a little more quicken our step once we depart.
All right. He seems a little bit unimpressed.
Yeah, Marshall will hand him a skin of wine if he'll take it.
Hey, how'd you like that? I could stand to wet my whistle as well.
Oh, well, of course, to keep the performance going, anything. And then he'll offer it to him as well.
Great, he takes it. How do you like that? Well,
shall we? Let us start tuning our instruments, shall we? And indeed, Gideon takes out his lute for the first time and starts testing it.
Just before anyone starts doing anything, I want to turn on my eyes of the grave, just because he said about the death and stuff like that. I just want to see if I see any ghosts or anything like that.
Any undead anywhere in the region? Okay. Yeah.
Within 60 feet of me, that's all.
Within 60 feet of you, and it doesn't go through stone or earth. They need to be...
Yeah, I would see them. I would tell them, as long as it's not behind total cover.
Not behind total cover, yeah.
Or protected by magic.
Protected by magic, okay.
So just looking for, free-range ghosts, I guess.
Free-range ghosts. The best kind, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
All organic. grain-fed. Yes, all right. Your eyes go beetle black, and you are scanning the region for the undead. Well then, should we start off with a simple little tune, something easy, so you can kind of ease your way in? Gnomish music is, pretty complicated.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, I think, we should do a warm-up at least.
Oh yeah, little warm-up, little something. Here, see if you can keep up with this one. And he begins strumming a reasonably complicated tune, but one that you feel like you have a pretty good chance of keeping up with. Go ahead and give me your performance check. Make sure you can follow the harmonic progression here.
Let's see how it goes.
D&D BARD hero,
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's 24.
24. All right. That's going to be your first success.
Starting off slow.
As the two of you blend together, you manage to do quite well, essentially accompanying him on this one as he's kind of soloing and jamming out on the flute. And then in kind of jazz style, he sort of spins it around and turns it over to you, expecting you to kind of perform a solo at this point. So go ahead and give me another performance check and describe what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Fancy fingers on the lute.
So that's 25.
That is good.
So Gideon's going to be like, let's set the tempo a little bit higher, shall we?
Right.
And
couple successes. He's getting impressed, but he's starting to sweat a little bit. So he's running out his next performance, and he just pulls out all the stops at this point, and the flute is just going nuts, as it does. Marshall and Sir Caleth, you're going to need to give me a strength check.
Oh boy! I hope I roll high. I didn't roll high. That would be an 8 minus 1. 7.
Ooh! Both you and Sir Caleth start floating. You are now 3 feet off the ground, about a meter off the ground, from foot to ground. You're just gently floating up into the rain that falls from above. Go ahead and give me that third performance check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. He's not alarmed yet.
No, it's just a little floating.
Yeah, indeed.
Gentle
Yeah.
floating.
Perhaps it's a bit of a twitch from the gnome, like, because he's getting nervous.
Yeah, that's right.
Roll good this time.
All those other rolls were not good rolls.
Yeah, I know.
No, like 11. That was my low.
Anything under 30 at this point for performance, Gideon considers a failure. Such a perfectionist.
Yeah. So I got an 18 plus 13. So what is that? 31. Yeah, I'm crescendoing at this point.
That is enough. All right, and the fury of your brilliant music making, your battle off, the gnome finally just can't keep up, and he kind of falls back and sort of collapses, and the flute goes off to one side and makes a kind of wheezing sound as he collapses. And now you can give me a D100, Randy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's 2 D10s basically after all.
Yeah, one for the tens place, one for the ones place. Exactly right.
So what is that? 11.
11. And give me a D10.
5.
5. Oh, perfect. You, as contrasted with Gideon and Caleth, suddenly feel heavier. You feel heavier, as though there's a weight on your shoulders, a weight pushing you down. And you shrink by 5 inches. You are now 5 inches shorter than what your previous half-elf stature was.
Wow. You see this gnome eye to eye.
He stands up and he looks at you, not quite eye to eye, but not far off. And he says, "Well, how do you like that? That was amazing. Seriously. Wow. Oh, gosh. Oh, wow. Those guys need to come down. What are they doing up there?" So go ahead and give me a strength acrobatics as you guys need to try to kind of swim your way down or otherwise propel yourselves downward. Kalith manages, aided by being in full plate armor.
That's true. Well, Marshall's like getting his shield and trying to like use his shield as a fan down. I rolled a 16.
16 is enough, and you manage to place your feet firmly back on the damp and mossy ground. The rain is pattering away at your shield.
I say, chaps, that performance literally lifted me off the ground. And it's very weird to have that perspective because I swear up there, Gideon, you look a lot smaller from up there.
Yeah, I was wondering, is this some kind of attempt to belittle me, Mr. Nessa?
No, nothing to do with me, I'm afraid. This is the land. This is what it does. It tries to pull you down, so you have to keep lifting up. And if you don't lift up, you'll be swallowed away.
That's an interesting explanation. I was thinking perhaps something more simple. Perhaps your instrument could be a bit out of tune. Perhaps you should consider going back to BARD school, getting your magic a bit sharpened.
Well, I have never been so insulted in all my life.
I did not mean to insult you.
Is Marshall, give me a d20.
I did not mean to insult you.
17.
It's just a friendly idea.
Sir, your tongue outvenoms that of a green dragon. I will not stand for this, sir. I will not stand here and have the music of my ancestors insulted, sir. I will not. I will not. I challenge you to a second BARD off.
Well, one cannot decline a proper challenge.
Winner takes all this time. Winner takes all.
Well, I mean, for the honor of your ancestor and to give them a big finale, I accept.
Right. He starts breathing heavily.
Before he does that, okay, Marshall rolling his eyes a little bit, like, oh dear. Now Marshall thinks we're wasting time. Master Dwarf, if you don't mind, and then he ties a rope around the dwarf, and then a rope around himself, and I don't know, do I have a spike maybe?
Yeah, you can jam some pitons into it.
Yeah, I would like to really quickly just use my mace to hit it in there to tie us down.
Taking yourself down to the hill. Okay. All right.
That might be a bit good precaution. I think it might get a bit wild around here.
One song! Winner takes all! This is it. Ready? Me first.
Well, if you say winner takes all, what at the stake? Should we place some bets?
Bets! First you insult me. Now, what a gamble. What a gamble here on the sacred.
It's just a friendly gamble. Is that just but a game? Is it not? We're just playing.
Fine, I can handle it. It's not a problem. It's fine. I can handle it. 500 gold pieces.
Gideon does not have 500 gold pieces. Yeah, it doesn't have much gold at all, actually. Oh, man. And he doesn't have any magical items or anything, actually. I should probably sort this out a bit more.
So Marshall's just sitting there, acting like he's... Obviously, it's only two other people there. He's like, play for your instruments.
Ooh. Yeah. Gideon looks back first. I'm not sure that would be a fair bet. Let me just say. I mean, this lute is made in the Feywild of Elven make. It must be worth quite a fair amount. And while he's playing a simple Houghton lute.
I've heard all the elven stuff I can stand. Let's play for our instruments.
I would only consider that fair if you would put those 500 gold on top of that wooden lute of yours.
This is the magic flute of my ancestors. This flute is worth far more than 500 petty gold pieces.
Very well, very well. I'll take that back. Please accept my apologies, and please let us proceed with the challenge.
All right.
Gideon feels confident, so it's fine.
To be fair, Marshall feels confident in your ability too. And he's a little upset that Gideon's kind of a sore winner, but it's all right.
All right. And now, Nissa Fenhoop pulls out his very best tune. The tune of his ancestors. The tune of his people. And it's okay. It's all right. It's an okay tune. It's a nice gnomish tune.
Starting up, yeah.
And you're starting to tune up and get ready. But just as he concludes the climax of his tune, Mario, give me a D100.
This is wonderful.
43.
And just as he concludes his tune, he blinks out of existence as part of his grand finale. And you see him about 20 feet away down the hill, smiling and waving at you. And then he blinks again and blinks back to the spot he stood upon before. Apparently teleporting is his way of finishing the tune. All right, Gideon the Gilded, you are up for one magic flute.
Yeah.
Marshall gave a good clapping.
Yeah.
To that.
Thank you, sir.
Gideon as
Thank
well.
you.
Bit
You
more
are
modest.
a connoisseur of fine music, no doubt.
Well, two can play that game. Hey, natural 20! Nice. And I was gonna say, Gideon is also gonna start weaving magic into his own song now. So upon seeing the gnome teleport, how far did he teleport down?
20 feet down the hill, and then back again.
Yeah. Well, Gideon is going to teleport with dimension door 50 feet off. Not really sure what that's going to be. And continue playing, and then eventually cast the dimension door a second time and just teleport back. While he's playing this amazing music, and he's returning to more to his roots. Basically, he's playing a tune that he learned in the Feywild, which is absolutely a very intricate and captivating.
An intricate and captivating Feywild tune. All right. And Marshall and Sir Calith, you guys are just hanging on to the ropes and each other and the spikes in the ground as the place resounds with this gorgeous music. And finally, you come to your finale and teleport back to the spot where you were. And you hear Nissa say, "Well, how do you like that? How about the 500 gold pieces? Just saying, instead of the flute? Or do you want if you want the flute, a bet's a bet." He holds out the flute and hangs his head in shame.
As a player, I'm kind of conflicted now. I mean,
What would Gideon do?
yeah, that's the question. I mean, I would absolutely love a magical instrument.
All Marshall will do. I mean, Marshall's not going to try to sway this. A bet's a bet, but at the same time, it's Gideon's decision. All Marshall will do is just give a nice little calm, just a little simple Gideon. Like letting him know that it's completely and totally a choice that Gideon has to make.
Oh man, now I got the pastor looking over my shoulder now. God damn.
Hey, adventure with a cleric or a paladin, you're always going to get a little bit of a glance from time to time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think Gideon is the bigger man. A bit is a bit. So Gideon is just gonna do a deep bow and say, an instrument is very precious to the musician. How about a trade? How about you give me your flute and I give you my lute instead?
What? What? That amazing elven lute? No way! For reals? You would do that for me?
You were out here playing music for your ancestors. I do not feel like it would be appropriate for me to, put a damper on the atmosphere around here, the modern half.
He starts crying. And he wraps his stubby arms around your waist. For now, you are not that much taller than he.
Oh, man.
And he begins sniffling.
Please.
Thank you. And you can feel a little bit of snot getting onto your tunic as his nose begins to run, and he grabs you even tighter. He then reaches for the lute and hands you his flute and holds it up and says, I'll practice every day. I promise, Papa Fenhoop, I will become as good at this as I was at the flute.
Wonderful.
That's awesome. Marshall just gets up and does the slow.
Gideon also starts clapping.
Yeah. What a wonderful performance of magic and music. Yes, I'll tie you, Caleb. Give me 1 second here. A wonderful performance of magic, and not only that, of sportsmanship and honor. Gentlemen, I am honored to have been witness to that. A concert for the hills and us two, and I am very, very happy to have been a part of that. Thank you so very, very much.
Well, thank you. Both of you have been a wonderful audience.
Honestly, I wouldn't have sat through that if I was not tied down.
All right, Master Dwarf.
Dwarven appreciation of music is, at least Sir Kalis, is not quite up to your same standards. Okay, you now have a magic flute, Gideon. This flute will allow you to cast the spell Levitate. On up to 6 creatures.
Holy cow!
Once per day.
Nice. Oh, I'm
do they have to? Do they have to? I guess it's a spell check.
The levitate spell, yeah. I mean, as a player, I was absolutely that a magical instrument was at the top of my list. Really, it was. And luckily, Gideon's also proficient with flute, so it works fine.
There you go, and Nissa is on his way to becoming proficient with lute. So there you are. Yeah. All right, Gideon, and the silver lute, wooden lute, but Nissa the silver gave it to you. Excellent. All right. Well done. And Sir Calith is looking particularly grumpy at this point, and he just drops his visor down. He tries to stomp off, but it's still a zone of low gravity, and so he kind of bouncing down the hill.
Bouncing, he looks like an astronaut. Yeah.
Yes, exactly right.
We should return to the road, but thank you, Nessa, for this for sharing for this musical orchestra.
You, sir, are a gentleman and a fine musician. I shall endeavor to learn a small fraction of what you have taught me here today, to honor my ancestors and the great city that was once here. Good luck, travelers, and well met.
Good luck to you too.
Good, sir.
Yes. I might have learned a few things from you as well. I thank you. No.
I thank you too, sir. All right. Well, I'm thinking that was an excellent scene. I'm wondering if actually we should call it there for the evening.
Can I do one thing really quick? One little RPG.
Yes, please, Marshall.
Yes. We're walking away. I will say this, is that Gideon, you showed a very, very good, it was a very good thing you did, a very honorable thing. And while you might have come out on top, you didn't know that. And you're willing to sacrifice it all for your art. and all for your music, and that's very noble.
Well, I am but a servant of the arts and a slave to beauty, and that was indeed a very beautiful performance that we made. And I am sure if I asked that I may be able to procure another loot from the Feywild.
Well, that's fantastic. Still admirable, and for that sacrifice, let me show you what kind of sacrifice can be rewarded as well too. And then Marshall's going to pull out one of his dusted diamonds that he has, and he's going to put it in his hand, and he's going to say the words, "Let's take care of your little problem here." And I'm going to cast Greater Restoration on him.
Greater Restoration. And you notice it's like a camera panning up. You just notice that suddenly you feel like you're 5 inches higher in your perspective on the world, as though you had a little lesson in being the little people for a little while, but are now back to full-sized
thank
Gideon.
you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Everybody seems to be in a spirit of giving. It's quite infectious.
Christmas in spring in the Desserin Hills. There you go. Great. All right. Well, I think why don't we wrap it there? I think that's just a perfect.
It doesn't get better than that.
It doesn't get better than that. Really. That's kind of a perfect ending place.
Yeah.
Totally random. No one had any idea what was going to happen. The first roll on the overland travel, it was basically turn it over to the player. And Gideon heard something, music, and we were off. We were off from that point on. What turned into a little mini BARD battle, some skill checks, some banter. I thought it was great. I thought that was incredibly well played, and a great example too of how basically we're all players in this together, right? That you guys pitch in just as much as the DM to carry a story and have fun, basically. So I loved it.
Absolutely.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
It was great. I loved it all. I mean, this is one of my favorite things to do. It's just because as long as you can just go with it, it's got a little bit of the improv rules with it and trying to support the other people and push out stuff that might work. Even if it doesn't come around, just throw stuff out there, see what comes around. Am I mistaken? But did we even roll the insult, Robert? Did you have
we rolled the insult. Yes, we rolled the exact insult, and it was the perfect insult. 17, your tongue outvenoms that of a green dragon.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, he was digging. Gideon was getting in a little, one musician to another, man. This guy's going to be touchy. That was the ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we even rolled the insult. We rolled the insult. He had his catchphrase. Most of this was pretty much role based. We rolled his race, to figure out what race he was.
Yeah, basically came up with a roll for the music, the type of music that we were hearing.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. We rolled up the type of music, and I went, what race? And we just kind of went with common races of adventurers. I have a table for that. Then it was a low gravity zone. I just went, there's got to be something magical about this. We had a low gravity zone. Which was perfect, and then these lights in the sky, and then it was an undiscovered or an unknown tomb. So suddenly you got a gnome playing a flute on a tomb. We got to figure out how that happened.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, I think when we came into that scene, I mean, like I said, it's a sight you don't see every day. It was immediately captivating, like what is going on here, and I want to know more.
Yeah, well, I wanted to know more too, right? I had no clue what was going to happen after that.
But it's good because, even if you had not told anyone you're rolling this out, come into a dell with low gravity, lights in the sky, and a gnome playing a flute on top of a tomb, that sounds something like you would have prepared.
Yeah,
that sounds like something this is what I'm going to do. Oh yeah, this city, yeah.
I got this gnome named Nissa, and I got his whole backstory and his whole family in the city and stuff. And it used to be sinking, but now it's levitating. Yeah, that didn't exist 60 minutes ago, or 45 even minutes ago. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is the fun of spontaneous D&D. Just going for it, and when you've got the camaraderie and the crew that's up for it and wants to encourage each other along and telling the story, it can come together. It can be tons of fun. So we may do this again. I think we'll probably next week I'll be up for a full one shot. I was going to say, assuming that the world is a nicer place next week, but whether or not it is, our world will be a nicer place here in D&D land. If you enjoyed this, if you want to see more of the one-shots and also just the spontaneous play adventures that we do, be sure to subscribe. And from me, from all of us, thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you next time.